The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel and podcast. And it is a Wednesday. Just like every single Wednesday throughout the summer, we have popped up with a spontaneous reaction to the Alexander Isak saga. And we are back with more news. The silence has finally been broken from both sides. I am your host, Kris, and I am joined by Deka and Chris Tunn tonight. And I want as much interaction from the audience that are joining there as well tonight, and we will go through as many questions as we possibly can throughout the show. But I'm going to start. So last night it was around about 8:30, boys, that we had the announcement from Alexander Isak. The reason the announcement has came out is because he didn't want to attend or felt as if he couldn't attend the PFA Awards. That's the only reason that statement came out. If that event doesn't happen, we don't get a statement from Isak. I think that's what it is. And I want to read through the statement. I'm assuming everybody has read it about 10 times already. And those watching as well have probably read it as well. But for those that haven't, I'm going to read it out to you. So Isak says, "I'm proud to be recognized by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League team of the season for 2024-2025. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. The silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made and the club have known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is the best interest of everyone, not just myself." I'm going to start with you, Deka. When that statement was issued on Instagram, like a Facebook mother, what were your first thoughts?
What a prick, if I'm honest. If I'm being really honest, that was my first thought. I was waiting for him to speak, if I'm honest. I thought something would happen soon because we are getting closer to the end of the window, right? And there's no way he's now going to, certainly before the window closes, come out and apologise and say, "Listen, I want to get back with the squad." So I did think, what is his next move? Is his agent maybe going to say something? So I was expecting him to do something. I wasn't expecting that statement, though, if I'm honest, on Instagram or whatever it is. It just seems very Karenish to me. Apologies if there's any Karens watching. But there's so much of it that I'm unhappy with, to be honest. I think there's a part, sorry, I'm just trying to look back at it again. There's a certain line about the staff and stuff and narratives being created and things like that. And
misleading is the word. That says.
Misleading. Yeah. I just feel like it almost feels a little bit like you think Howe's been put in front. The main spokesman for us has been Eddie Howe, really, right? And he hasn't said anything negative at all about that man whatsoever. So, yeah, I was incredibly annoyed. I did expect something to happen, not quite this, but I was really, really annoyed with him. And I know we'll get onto it, but I was really pleased at how quickly the club reacted to that and throughout their statement as well, which we'll come on to. But, yeah, incredibly annoyed.
I think, Chris, there's been a few parts of that statement that fans aren't happy with. One of them is the fact that there's been no mention of the fan base whatsoever within that statement. And that comes from, let's remember the interview which Dan Burn did after the game at the weekend. He basically says nobody at this club has achieved anything themselves. It's been everybody else involved at the club. Do you think Isak's been forced to release a statement as the likes of one last roll of the dice to try his luck?
I think it's probably a bit of both. I think it probably is coming from an agent standpoint of saying, right, okay, what we need to probably do to get this ball rolling a bit more is try and, throw a cat amongst the pigeons. But I think, you hit the nail on the head there in the sense of like, that was the first thing I said in our chat yesterday is like, he can say what he wants and it's all very well. And I'm sure we'll discuss it more. Like, have the club potentially made a mistake as far as like, have they promised him whatever? I couldn't give a shit in the sense of that he didn't actually say anything about the fans who are the ones who are the one that are going to hurt the most from this, right? The football club as a football club will be fine, with Isak or not. Well, it'll figure itself out. But it's the fact that the fans who are buying the shirt with your name on the back don't even get a word in that statement. That made me, I was lying in bed foaming. I was like, I should probably get up and actually get this energy out somewhere. But at the same time, it's just like, I couldn't believe he just didn't even. All it would have taken would have been like, oh, to the fans, I'm sorry that this is happening. I'd love to be playing in front of you again, but I just don't see it happening right now for whatever reason. But not even a mention of the fans was mental, to be honest with you.
It goes back to what we've been saying for weeks now, that Isak has handled this whole situation completely wrong. Whether or not he's advised to do that by an agent or whoever's in his ear telling him to do these sort of things, Deka, he has gone about it the complete opposite way that he should have done. Yes, if you're trying to force a move, you want to probably do the most shittest thing that you can do to the football club, which is not to train and refuse to train and kind of force the club's hand. But having said that, the club made it clear from day one that Alexander Isak was not for sale. It did sway off course a little bit to say, right, if he is going to go, it's going to be a sensible offer and a British record fee, which is going to top 130 plus, you would expect. Liverpool came in with a low ball offer of 110, which, do you know what it is? I don't necessarily blame Liverpool for that. They're entitled to do that. Football clubs low ball players all the time. But then you normally have a follow-up bid on the back of that. Liverpool have gone silent. Liverpool have done exactly what they've wanted to do. They've unsettled the player, dangled the carrot a little bit, and just left it there. Then they're letting all of this pan out behind, well, nothing to do with them. They can carry on about their business until we have to make a decision or they come back to the board here. But Isak's now at a point where there's a couple of weeks left of the transfer window. It doesn't look like it's any closer to him getting a move away from the club. It looks like the club have now came and basically doubled in on this one and went, yeah, you've got no chance now. You're not going anywhere, and we will get on the statement straight away. Well, in just a second. But is there any way back for Isak now, Deka? Because I think my personal opinion, I think if you had asked us on Monday, I said possibly if there's a statement that gets released where he apologizes, he possibly changes agency and so on, maybe. He's gone the complete opposite way and released a statement basically saying, no, I'm not going to play for you again.
Yeah, so I think what I first said, obviously my reaction was he was a prick and blah, blah, blah. I referenced very quickly what was in the statement that annoyed us. Now, you're absolutely right, by the way, and it didn't go amiss on me either, that he didn't mention the fans. So it's what he didn't include on that part. I think when you talk about being advised, like, my God, how badly can you be advised? Like, I'm not necessarily saying he sat in bed actually writing that himself. I would imagine he's had his social media team, he's had his agent helping him with that or whatever. For not one of them to say, well, maybe, yeah, you might want to mention the fans here, is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Even just a small token. And I think I was with you on Monday, Chris, that I've always thought there is a way back. It'll be tough, mind you, especially his first couple of games back. I think the crowd will give him what for. But I try to reference Suarez, I try to reference Kane, I try to reference Rooney at Man United. I've referenced these different scenarios where this has happened before. The players come back and played. However, on the back of this statement, I think the anger amongst the fan base now is pretty bad. And I don't want to move the subject on because I know we're going to go through things in stages, but the thing with Bruno almost seconds later, putting that
A couple
post
of
on.
minutes later, Deka,
I just feel that even the players now are thinking, do you know what it is? We're sick and tired of you. We're pissed off with this statement. So yeah, it's very difficult, not just to get back on board with us as fans, but I also think the players as well. I think it's really, really difficult.
I think it wasn't just the Bruno post, and for those that didn't see it, Bruno just put a picture of himself wearing the Newcastle shirt on about 4 minutes after. Was that coincidence? I don't think so. Because now we've seen Joe Linton and I think it might have been Bruno's missus or Joe Linton's missus, one of them that have liked certain things from the club. And one of them is like the statement which was announced, which was released by the club. Another one's like something which War Flags have put on about the fans getting behind him. That was Joe, yeah. So you can tell that there's been some sort of unrest between the players, and I think it was Craig Hopeshock that put on that there's some form of player civil war going on at the moment where they're taking sides. I think he came out not long after that and backtracked a little bit, thinking it's not as bad as what it sounds. But it's going to happen though, Chris, isn't it? It's of course it's going to happen.
I think, yeah, he came out and just sort of said it wasn't necessarily that there is a divide in the camp. It's just that there's two sides to it in a certain sense. Some think it's all right, some think it isn't. You would expect so. Like, I can't imagine that you're able to down tools like that. I mean, look, I can imagine that in anybody's work, if somebody was like, oh, I'm not coming in, and you're going to now all have to kind of pick up the slack, so to speak. There would be a bit like when you come back in, you'd be like, well, what was that all about? Never mind when you're playing for a football club like Newcastle United and like the passionate players that we do have. Like, I can't imagine it sitting well with your club captain at all for a start. I think Bruno, especially with the way that he is, like, just a slight segue, but like I was even speaking to my last, and she was like, could you imagine Bruno ever do anything like that? And I couldn't think of anything that would be further away, at least from my personal assumptions of Bruno, further away from his character to do something like that. So I can't imagine that sits well with somebody like him. So it won't sit well with somebody like Joe Linton, et cetera, which what we've kind of seen from socials. So I'd imagine it will be difficult, but I don't think that's the biggest hurdle. The biggest hurdle is 100% going to be the fans. This is all ifs, buts, and maybes if he does come back. But the biggest hurdle is absolutely going to be the fans. It would take... anything's ultimately possible still. And I think realistically, if we don't sign at least another striker, he's going to have to play it. If he does play it, we're going to have to probably get over it to a certain degree. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to deal with, and he's going to have to deal with. How he does that would, again, kind of what Deka was saying, it's a massive apology is going to be needed. You can't just be turning up and be like, oh, well, yeah, I'm here now. Massive apology, and he'll have to perform, because then people will immediately question any bad decision he makes, any bad play he makes, anytime he doesn't make a run. That's all going to be questioned. So he's going to have to come in and hit the ground running, or people are going to be like, well, fuck this. He might as well just let him rot in the reserves if he's not going to do it properly. So, yeah, there's so many different things he's going to have to do if he is going to be playing for us again, if he ever plays for us again. It's a bit of a shit situation. Proper poo sandwich, to be honest.
There's a couple of things. So when the statement first came out, like I didn't say it was straight away. Then obviously I saw the WhatsApp group just go ping, 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 like loads of messages. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, what's happened now? And I jumped in, and Deka, I was the same as you when I initially read that. I just thought, you utter bellend, you disrespectful bellend. Like, and it really pissed us off to the point where you could see by the messages I was putting in the group, and I'm not going to air them what I was saying but on here. But I wasn't happy in the slightest. And do you know what it is? I think with me hosting a lot of these, I kind of sit on the fence and let other people discuss things. But honestly, I was so appalled by it. Like, he's just sticking two fingers up at everybody. So at the football club, at Eddie Howe, the coaches, anybody associated with Newcastle United, the fan base, literally everybody. And I'm so unimpressed by the whole situation, because he comes out and he's made, the club have known this for a long time. Bollocks. Like, if the club have known this for a long time, one, you're not going to be involved in the likes of the Adidas adverts for the upcoming kit. You're not going to be involved in that, because I think that was recorded at the very start of May or the end of April for one of them. But I think one of them was recorded in May, thereabouts. And the amount of effort and time that have been put into those sort of things, the club aren't going to waste the time if Isak's made it known for fine well that he does not want to be at this football club. We can look back at all of our previous interviews towards the end of the season, and he talks about his future. And he's saying, "Oh, I'm not even thinking about my future. I'm happy at Newcastle United." Well, like, which is it, Alex? Like, you're just talking utter shit at this point. Like, you're either pulling the wool over our eyes as a football club and as a fan base, or you're just completely lying through your teeth right now. And one of the things I did want to mention, and Deka, I know what you're like. You're very similar to me when it comes to the likes of content which goes out on YouTube and social media from all the other stations, like the Sky Sports, TNT, TalkSport, whoever it is. I normally see it and I just absorb as much as I possibly can. And I think me and Chris were talking about this before we went live, but I think the likes of Simon Jordan has absolutely hit the nail on the head throughout this one. He's coming out and saying, you just simply cannot do that as a footballer. You can't do it. You're not going to win any battles by doing that. And you're always going to have that thought in your back of your mind. Now, let's say if he goes to Liverpool, if I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm thinking, like, is he the right character that I want? He's got 3 years left on his contract. He could go to Liverpool, sign a 5-year deal. 2 years' time, they could be in the same situation where he wants to go to Barcelona, he wants to go to Real Madrid, he wants to go to PSG. And yes, you can argue about Wissa and so on, but we'll do a full circle and get back to Wissa soon enough. I just think the likes of Simon Jordan, and I've never been a big fan of him, especially with the disagreements that he was going back and forwards when the ownership was going through when we were first purchased by PAF. But he's absolutely hit the nail on the head throughout this Deka. He's appalled by the behaviour.
Yeah. Now, I used to hate Simon Jordan, to be fair, and I started watching a lot more of TalkSport. And the more and more I watched him, I thought, it is actually, he does say a lot of good stuff. Like, now, today he called Jamie O'Hara an idiot. Now, I think he should be in all of our good books now, to be quite honest. It was brilliant.
Colleague as well, because he's still on TalkSport.
It was amazing. He said, because he basically was honest and said, listen, I get it that this happening, it allows us to have a good platform to talk about it. It's something that we're interested in, and we'll talk about it all day, as we clearly are. He says, but you've got idiots like Jamie O'Hara saying things like he's saying. He hasn't got a clue. And he's right. I mean, he's absolutely right. I think it's just, I was going to reference what you said, but you kind of already said it. But he was on that canoe trip, when all the lads all went away and they were having this sort of team bonding thing. Whatever they were doing. He was on there. He's on the third strip. He's sitting with Tino Asprilla having a cigar and that. Like, come on, mate. If you were leaving and you had no intentions, you wouldn't be part of all of this marketing, surely. Like, I just don't get it at all. Now, the other thing, he's saying that promises are broken and blah, blah, blah. I think listen, I could be wrong here, of course, but we're led to believe probably the people that have even had these conversations aren't even at the football club anymore. So it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not anyone's fault now. Surely you've got to understand, okay, maybe over a glass of wine, or when Amanda's been you scored a hat-trick or whatever, and Amanda's loved you, she said something in your ear, but she's now not here. So you've got to understand that, like, all right, maybe he has got a point in that sense, but that person's not here anymore. So it's, you're still on a contract. You've still got to do what you've got to do. And now, by all accounts, we've also offered him a new contract. We've tried to negotiate, and he's saying point blank, I'm not interested. I want to go. And I don't know. I mean, it's just absolutely appalling, like, isn't it? Really, and to have 3 years left on your deal as well, and to act this way. Now, I think Chris mentioned before, about like getting across the fan base and coming back, and the one thing I will say is, if he comes back in however many games or weeks it is, he just is not going to be the same player. Even if he was trying, he hasn't had a pre-season. He is going to take time. I remember when Harry Kane did this, and he said wanted to go to Man City or wherever it was. I don't think he scored in his first 10 games when he come back for Spurs. Now, can you imagine the shit he is going to get if he comes back anyway and doesn't score in 10 games? Fuck me. I'm sorry, like, they're going to go absolutely mental. So I cannot see it working regardless if he stays, mind you. I just cannot see it working at all.
There's loads of different scenarios that we've got, Chris, about what the future holds for us as a football club and Isak being a Newcastle player. There's so many different scenarios. But one of the ones which I've seen highlighted today is that we all know that he's he's been going to training in the afternoon when the rest of the lads are there in the morning. Okay, Eddie House came out plenty of times and said that he will put him with the rest of the lads when he feels that's the right time to do that. One of the theories which I sort of did, I think this might have been on TalkSport as well, which was quite entertaining. One of the callers said, just name him in the team on Monday coming up. Just put him in the squad. Don't start him. Just put him on the squad, put him on the bench, put him in front of the cameras and make it really difficult for him. Then let's see if he refuses to go and sit on that bench. Then if he does refuse at that point, then you're in breach of your contract because your contract to play football at the end of the day.
How funny it would be, yes, but I don't know if it gets us any further though. Like, does it help us in the here and now? Probably not. But like, it would put him in an awkward position to actually then be forcing his hand and saying like, I've seen so much of saying that he's refusing to play or whatever, or as how just not wanting to play him because of everything that's going on. I think there's a lot like kind of along the line there. But yeah, that would be a certain kind of way to do it. But there is multiple different situations that it does play out. You are right, but I think the one that I've been trying to like settle myself down with, because I like, and I know we'll probably talk about the club statement, but like after everything happened, I was like, yeah, okay, this is good. I love the club statement. This is great. We still don't have a fucking striker. And that is ultimately a big problem still. And we need to figure that out more than anything right now. Like whatever has happened with Alex is obviously paramount to all of that. But at the same time,
the issue is though, Chris, the issue with bringing a striker in is the fact that these clubs know that they're desperate for a striker. We're going to currently see with Wissa, they're just putting that money
million.
up. Yeah, 60 million for Wissa. So you can see Isak putting himself in this situation has done the complete opposite as what he expected to happen. It's just put us in such a vulnerable place now where we can't find a replacement. We can't even find a replacement for Callum Wilson because of what you're doing, you fucking idiot. So how are we going to find a replacement for you?
It's been a huge pain.
I don't really blame Brentford in what they're doing. I mean, I'm frustrated by it and annoyed, but I get it. Like, no offense to them, but they've been ripped apart, right? Manager-wise, they've lost Mbeumo. They're going to lose their next best player. I get it. To them, it probably is worth 60 million to them. And I know at the outside of us looking in and going, can it be 60 million for him? I get it. I understand. But Brentford are just almost in a way doing what we're trying to do. We're going, no, like, you're not going on. You're going to go for an astronomical amount of money. And I think that the other people that Isak needs to be annoyed with is Liverpool. As you mentioned at the top of the show, right? They've come in with one offer which was below par, below what, this guy's worth more than bloody Caicedo or whatever. For Chelsea, I think it was 110 then paid for him, right? He's a bit better than him, like. Different position, I know. So to not then come back, you should be as annoyed with them as well. I mean, of course he'll never say that, but I'd imagine maybe he probably is. But what I want to quickly ask is, apologise, Chris, if you were going to ask, do you think Liverpool do come back in with another bid in the next, 7 days or so, however long is left of the window?
I think they do. But I don't think it'll be a much improved bid. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the 150 that we want. I think they realise now we're in this position where our backs are against the wall to a certain extent, where, like you mentioned, Isak isn't fit to play. He's clearly said that he doesn't want to play. Chris mentioned earlier on, just like we did on Monday night as well, that spotlight is going to be on Isak throughout the season, whether he has a good game, a bad game, or a bang average game. That spotlight is going to be on him. And every single bad touch, every single miss, any sort of interaction he has on a football field, that is going to get criticised till the end of time. That's the issue that we have right now. I think Liverpool probably will come back in. They'll probably come in with probably about 120. They're out and just leave that on the table and say, there you go, lads. You've got a week to decide what you want to do with that one. And I think at the end of the day, I think we'll probably do it. I think he'll go.
The problem is that we're in a tough spot with it in so many different ways of that. Okay, well, if we don't get a striker in, he's our only kind of option here to keep him. But then what does that look like? Again, we've talked about the multiple situations that can go on there. But then if we do sell him, everybody then knows we've got a lot of money to spend, which I think we've still got money to spend by the sounds of things anyway. But
either way, I think if Isak doesn't go, we've still got the money there to spend. Yeah.
Yeah. Then on top of that, I did have another point there. As far as like if he goes, then and we have nothing. Like, I just don't think we're going to leave ourselves short, even if Isak is that really rogue option to a certain degree of like, okay, well, we keep him and we go from there. I don't know. It's just it all ultimately puts us still in a shit spot, even though, like as mentioned, kind of happy with how the club have managed it last night. We're still very, very short, and we're still in a tough position. But then at the same time, would it be a massive waste to let him just kind of rot in the reserves? Then how much are we going to get from next year? Like, is it going to?
I'm more on that fence, Chris. I'm more on that fence
because then PSR, we'll hear about it so often. I'm not saying I want to bite the bullet and take 120 and then be without a striker, but is it better to do that now than like kind of be screwed over next year again and just don't get nearly as much as what we were getting now? So it's a really, really difficult spot that we're being put in by him, to be honest with you. And I think that's the main thing. He's kind of he's derailed our season before it's barely even started. Like, and I'm not like saying that we're going to have a bad season, but it is like it's really, really put it in a tough spot. Like, how can we possibly?
It does, hasn't it?
Yeah. Like, how on earth are we going to compete on all these different ends that we want to compete on when we literally do not have a recognised striker outside of Willisula? And with all due respect to Willisula, he's not going to lead the line in the Champions League every single week, is he? Like,
we've got no chance. Let's be very frank. Chance. I mean, you've got 20. How many goals did you score? He's at 23 last year. Ish.
I think it's 20. I think I was looking the other day. I think it might have been 27.
There we go. We cannot lose. Well, no team can. No team can lose almost 30 goals, right? I suppose the hope was to bring in Sesko and Wissa to try and then find those goals another way. We have been a bit unlucky on that because I think if Sesko had come in, he would have been gone anyway. I still actually feel, sorry, I will come back, but just with Wissa, I do think we'll get him, I just think it might take until the very end of the window. I don't know. But to the question
I think
I asked
there'll be
you was,
big domino effect there. I think if we accept the second bid from Liverpool for Isak, which I'm pretty confident that'll come in at some point, then I think that'll not going to affect that. We'll get Wissa and so on and so on. But I think it's going to be so late in the window. You're looking probably at the last couple of days, if not the last day of the window.
That's what I think as well.
Yeah, which is annoying. I think probably now is a best time to go through the club statement as well. I think it took the club about 3 hours after Isak released it to announce it, and I think I was under the impression, first of all, that the club probably wouldn't do anything as quick as what they did. But
I didn't think that's why I went to bed. Yeah. I woke up at 2 a.m. and
damning Isak's statement was, I think the club's hand have been forced there. We're going to have to say something because he's saying that we basically misleading, and by that, what he's talking about, the only thing I can talk about is Eddie Howe. Is he referring to Eddie Howe in this, or is he referring to the likes of the media? And where the media getting the news from? They're not getting it from Eddie Howe. They're getting it from Isak's agent or his representatives. That's who's spouting all this nonsense. So all that's coming from your side. So to say that you're being quiet in this whole situation, yes, you might have had your mouth shut, but other people have been saying it, like on behalf of you. So don't go and throw shade at Eddie Howe's door, because he's been nothing but positive about this whole situation to you. He's constantly said that the door's always open for you. He doesn't want to lose his best players, and that he hopes that he can be reintegrated into the team. So don't.
Isn't just me that's left here by the looks of things. It just seems to be my head. I'm not sure what's happened there, everyone. We'll figure this out 1 second. Yep, just me. Right, excellent. Well, hopefully Kris and that can come back in. But I think we were going to chat over the Wissa situation and everything. I'm not sure this is the time for me to start a solo Newcastle podcast. It might not be. Maybe one day. But yeah, well, to be fair, I was playing football with a dog on the field today, and I'm telling you, if I'm the one who's in charge of our striking department, we're in a lot of trouble. More trouble than we're in now. So hopefully we can get the boys back in. I'll text Kris and see what's going on. No, Kris, it hasn't kicked me out. It's just me left. Oh, apparently the internet's went down in Shield, does it? We'll figure out what's going on. Can I sing? Well, maybe not good enough to keep you lot entertained, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully we can get Kris and that back in a second. 1 sec. A poem would be even worse at this stage. I tell you what I'll do. Whilst we wait on these come back in, maybe we can get some more questions in, and I can. Oh wait, hold on. We're about to get somebody back. By the looks of things. Chris, now's not the time for me to do this solo. I know we've talked about us doing a different show or whatever, but I don't think it's this moment in time.
Hello, mate. I don't know what's happened because me and Deka have just been booted out. So I think the Wi-Fi in Shields might have just done everybody over.
I thought it was me at first because it left me on my own, and I was like, "Oh, is my internet just went down?" Or something like that. No, checked YouTube, and everyone's like, "You're on your own, pal." They've been asking us to sing and write poems and everything.
Let's shift this first of all. So honestly, I have no idea what's happened. I don't even know what to suggest everybody watching. I think probably what's wise for it to do. I think we're probably going to jump out of this, okay? And I'll see if I can get it fixed, and we'll start another one up, okay? But yeah, bear with us. I'll put a message in soon enough, guys. If you are joining us, if you remember, just give her 5 minutes or so, and we'll see what's happened.